Adam Ronin here with another Ronin game review 2 this week. Oh boy, are we lucky. This one, not so glowing. 2 years ago, Boss Battle Tim and I sat on a couch on the Boss Battle show and we talked about Friday the 13th as it was announced, and we gave it our undying support.
We need your help.
Not just us. Gun Media needs your help to get the greatest game ever made off the ground. Yeah. We made a video, people watched it, we were so excited, and I donated a hefty chunk of change to their Kickstarter. Obviously, if you've seen any R24 videos, I've talked about it before. I personally am a massive fan of the franchise, and I feel like I've just been robbed my entire life of playing a proper Friday the 13th game, especially back in the 80s. While that game on the NES from 1988, I think, still holds a special spot in my heart, it's ultimately a pile of garbage. So right now, with the new game, when it was announced in 2015 as Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp, I was ecstatic because, you know, it was a close enough homage that I felt like this is good enough. But then when they finally got the license to Friday the 13th and they launched their Kickstarter, boy oh boy, were we on board. But then I feel like I was just kicked in the balls by an inexperienced development team and overambitious ideas, and ultimately marred by glitches. Let's take a look at what I'm thinking here. The first thing I want to note here is Friday the 13th has potential. Buried underneath a sea of bugs, weird design decisions, and terrible character models, there is a fun experience that can be carefully crafted into a good game. The problem is, by the time that happens, the player base just won't be there. It's Evolve all over again. Let's start with the cosmetics. Friday the 13th bounces between being acceptable looking to having some of the most downright laughable visuals. Most notably are the counselor character models. Engraved into meme history is Chad, the douchey counselor with features only a mother like Pamela Voorhees could love. On the flip side, I can say though, I am thoroughly impressed with all the models for Jason. You can see true care was put into these, and that the developers really actually do love the franchise. Each model from every film was crafted down to every detail. The 3 levels are all recreated in the most accurate way possible, matching the vibe and style from the film. But from there, it all kind of falls flat for me. Animations are starkly different, from Jason, who is expertly motion captured by Kane Hodder himself, to the straight up janky for the counselors. That wouldn't be so bad, but you have a 12% chance of actually playing as Jason, so most of your playtime is spent walking around as these counselors, wading through bad collision detection, getting stuck in corners on rocks, and fighting to survive not only the man himself, but trying to battle through the glitches and horribly designed stamina system. But graphics don't mean everything. We as gamers can see past visuals to gameplay, which is where a game's future relies. Friday the 13th, the game, is an asymmetric multiplayer game with one lucky person playing as Jason, hunting down up to 6 other people who are playing counselors trying to survive the night or defeat Jason. Interesting in theory, but how does it play? Currently, you have 2 options in this game. Quick play, where you can hop into a match with up to 6 strangers, or private match, where if you're lucky enough to have up to 6 friends who bought the game, you can craft your own experience and play from there. I literally know no one else on Xbox One playing this, so all my playtime has been spent in quick match. And by all my playtime, I mean some of my playtime, because if you haven't heard, this game had one of the most disastrous launches I have ever seen. For the first week or 2, I literally couldn't even play the game. It was at that point a $100 digital brick. Post-patch, I'm able to get into matches fairly quickly though. However, I'm at the mercy of digital gods if I'm going to be thrown into a lobby alone, or if by the sweet merciful chance that I get into a game, I am then at the mercy of the host and a peer-to-peer experience. Should that said host die quickly in the match or get bored and just happen to leave, it's game over and the search starts over and continues from there. I think in my time, I've literally been able to compete in under maybe a dozen whole complete games due to crashing or host disconnects. And in terms of playing as actually Jason, I've played as him one time. And in this one time, I found it to be absolutely monumentally more exciting than playing as a counselor. That's not to say when you survive the night or escape as a counselor, it isn't satisfying, but should you be unlucky enough to die earlier on, you're stuck spectating for up to 10+ minutes. The mechanics of fixing cars, setting traps, fortifying your environments isn't a bad experience by any means. The fun factor is there, and the use of Henry Manfredini and his score is truly top-notch. There are real elements of fear here when you know that Jason is near. When you bust through a door or a wall, adrenaline does indeed pump and excitement can be had. Friday the 13th, the game, does succeed in capturing slight elements of the feel to the movies, and you really do feel like you're walking around on one of the camps from 1984. But the spirit of what makes these movies so classic is ultimately missing. Being an M-rated game, the addition of having sex as counselors or drinking and other sinful acts to try to heal or act as a minigame would be a welcome addition, I feel. When it comes to modes, there just really isn't there. There are some customization options and fun badges that you can earn, which I will admit I found to be an enjoyable addition when it comes down to it, but the game just suffers from getting boring far too quickly. The supposed single player coming later this year should alleviate that to a degree, but to what end? The problem with multiplayer only games rests within being forced to have little to no options in terms of single player. We as gamers have forgotten what it's like to sometimes just want to come home and murder teenagers and have a beer after the end of a hard day without 12-year-old Jimmy online team killing you and calling your mother a whore.
Back last winter when they had the beta for the game, I absolutely begged the developers that this game needed a delay. It needed it badly. In the post-beta survey, that was every comment box. I was like, you need to delay this game at least by a year. Please work this on this, on this, and this. Keep working on this. This needs more. This needs a delay. It needed it. It absolutely needed it, and it did not get it. It was rushed to release. I feel like Ilphonic and Gun Media bit off more they can chew, and their inexperience as developers just seeped out of the red cuts that this game leaves you. Because, as the wonderful Shigeru Miyamoto says, a delayed game is eventually good, and a bad game is forever bad. In its current state, now this is before the single player drops, but in its current state, Friday the 13th, the game gets a 4.2 out of 10 from me on my 10-point scale. So keep in mind, I'm playing this on the Xbox One, and out of the three, Xbox One, PS4, and PC, Xbox One is getting the biggest shaft in terms of its updates and its stability issues. So this is my experience personally on my console of choice that I'm playing it on. You may not be experiencing the same issues, but as a whole, I think that we need to do better when we come to develop these games, because we rush out, we get so excited about franchises, and consumers are chomping at the bit to purchase these things and throw money at it. Things just we need to take time to make better games, or I say we, but developers, we as consumers need to allow them to have the time to make those, because when they throw a $40 product at you and you're getting maybe a $10 to $20 experience, that's unacceptable, and you need to speak with your wallets. And that's all I got to say about that. And my name is Adam Ronin, the Twitter. Converse with me on We Shall Discuss the merits of game development. All right, that's it.